Well, I've crashed at 200 miles an hour. Does that count?
No,
I think you've crossed at all of the speeds, actually. Tiff, he's crashed at most of the speeds. What, Richard, what was your jet car? What speed were you doing?
320.
Were you? I thought it was 200 and something.
No, that's the papers always say 290. It was 320.
Really? Were you checking just before? Is that why you crashed?
No, because they didn't put a speedo in it because they know I'm an idiot and I would therefore have been wanting to go faster and faster until I binned it.
Tiff,
I did it.
most of us have driven at that sort of speed. Have you?
I do hold the production car lap record in 200 miles an hour on the Milbert Bowl and the McLaren F1 without crashing. So that's, I'll take that one.
Actually, he is quite good at driving, isn't he? Do you remember all those? Do you remember that thing when you used to have to park in front and not hit a barrier?
Yes.
You
don't really sell that very well.
No.
People used to come to the arena to watch an old man.
People used to watch an old man park a car. Right, two boys, rival armpits. What's your question first?
Is there a car that you're actually like truly terrified to drive?
Good question, mate. Give him a t-shirt. I'm afraid it's signed.
Yes, dragsters. He was stupid enough. I would never have even done what he did. Dragsters scare them because you're not really in control. You just sit there and go in a straight line and wait till you die.
To be fair, I'm barely in control of anything anyway, so it doesn't make a lot of difference.
And your question, sir?
Richard Hammond, how tall are you?
It's just bullying, isn't it? Richard, I'm not giving him a t-shirt. You get your own. I'm sorry. Don't bully my client.
Actually, on the height thing, I'm about 5'7", which is fairly ordinary. It's just that I work with two circus freaks. People always...
We haven't really talked about the others two, have we? How are you guys getting on these days? Are you like the broken rock band that can't talk to each other?
No, we still talk to each other. We have to
really?
because we're trying to plan the next grand tour whenever we can get away and do it.
What are you likely to do next? What's left to do?
Well, the world's ever so big. There's all sorts of places to go.
We think you've been to all of the places by now, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it time?
What do you want to do next?
I would like to do something Arctic or Antarctica again at some point in my life.
Because that was pretty close after you had your accident, wasn't it? Going to the Arctic.
Yeah, the doctors were cross.
Was that not the best thing you ever did?
It wasn't a brilliant idea.
Right, there's a lady here, and then we're going to have a final penalty shootout between these two old men.
Okay, so here's a question for Hammond. Do you like the Mondeo or Oliver better?
Well, the Mondeo ST200 is the one car that we all like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for Oliver in the end. Sadly, sorry, but you know, it's a plucky little car.
So we're going to do quick fire things to answer. Penalty shootout between the two of you.
Chris, you're making this up.
I am literally making it up as we go along. But we've got to finish now. This is the end of the audience with Richard Hammond. It's your last audience. It could be. Tim, right. Sell to us your favourite car in the world ever.
My favourite car in the world is my Lotus 69F Formula Ford race car that I won in a magazine competition in 1971 that made me become a Grand Prix driver 10 years later, which I sold to an Austrian and I bought back 5 years ago, restored it to exactly as it looked in 1971, and it sits in my garage and my heart beats every time I look at it.
Same question for Richard Hammond, and then we'll throw it to the audience.
Oh God, well I'll stick with the E-Type then because I've already made a case for it, because I think it connects us to a time when cars were exciting. They were meaningful forms of expression and of art, beyond simply being a means of displaying your wealth, your potency, your prowess.
So who is it, ladies and gentlemen? All right, enough. Who is it, ladies and gentlemen? Tiff? Who voted for Tiff? Who voted for Hammond? No, I think it was you.
I have that.
Jeremy Clarkson or James May?
James May.
What, to sleep with? I don't
Any of the above.
Can I choose death?
Right, that's a question.
Well, James May's got a pub, so that's it.
I'm waiting to get banned from it. He says I already am.
He's got his own pub, has he?
But I haven't been in it
Yeah?
yet, so I'm going to get banned.
And where's his pub?
Yeah, west of,
somewhere near Anstey.
West of Salisbury, that way.
So you three are like a kind of broken rock band, aren't you? You kind of hardly talk to each other anymore. You've done your thing.
We do. I talk to James, yes.
No, you don't. Will you ride again? Do you think you've got one more big... Have you got any more, for instance, another live tour? Could you commit to that on stage at this point?
Well, we nearly ruined you last time. It was the best thing in the world. Just very briefly on that, because we did the live stage tour around the world, and Chris got overambitious and decided to do it in big arenas with big crowds. Well, we'd been used to working with the BBC, so we were spending your license fee money. So we were very responsible with that. We wouldn't waste it. That's for the show. No, we were. But that's for the show. But then when we were doing the live stage shows, we were spending Chris's money. So what we needed was a private jet to get there from the UK, obviously. And then we wouldn't want to drive all the way to the event, so we'd need a helicopter. And then we had to get out of the helicopter into a Phantom. And we did. And he's such an idiot. He had such fun doing it. He bloody paid for it.
It's true, ladies and gentlemen.
And just one final thing, just because you've got there's a little scrap of dignity left down there, and I'd like to get rid of that. We weren't entirely kind to him. Any people who work for him here? Yeah, there's lots of his team here.
There's no one left who works for me.
Good.
It's just me.
So we got to the point where we'd get into hotels. And he went through this whole rigmarole. We'd check in and he'd shuffle up to the counter. Hello, I'm Chris Hughes. And they'd say, before they checked him in, he'd say, do you have a swimming pool? And they'd say, yeah. Where is it? It's out there. Thank you. And he'd waddle off to the swimming pool, take his mobile phone and his pen out of his pocket, and throw himself in to save us the bother, because he knew it was going to happen.
It's the only way to spite them, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the only way to save his
If we're
telephone.
ending with a strong whiff of disappointment, I just want you to tell the people about how it wasn't all rock and roll touring. There was a time when Richard Hammond decided he didn't fancy the last two shows of the tour, ladies and gentlemen. He skipped a last show in Johannesburg and in Sydney, leaving it to his colleague James May. What did you miss, Rich?
I miss one of the biggest parties I've ever heard of, plus an audience with the world's only living saint, in the form of Nelson Mandela. These three idiots, so him, James and Jeremy, get an actual audience with Nelson Mandela. They text me once I've got home to tell me what I'm missing. They're duly wheeled out in front of the great man into his office. They sit down in front of the great man and it becomes fairly clear. Nelson was getting on a little bit then. It becomes fairly clear quite quickly that he, for some reason, believes the three of them to be astronauts.
Because he was meeting Neil Armstrong the next day, and he thought Jeremy was Neil Armstrong.
And he asked Jeremy, what was it like on the moon? At which point, had Jeremy said, I'm terribly sorry, you've got the wrong person, they could have continued on, but he didn't. What did he say?
He said, yeah, it was all right.
So, for 45 minutes, him, James May and Jeremy Clarkson lied to the world's only living saint. I missed that.
We did have this worry that he would have come to his sort of senses and gone, you're not astronauts, you're fat blokes. Anyway, the other thing you missed was beach cricket with AC/DC.
Yeah, I did.
So that teaches you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever going on tour, if you ever get the opportunity to be Richard Hammond, to go on tour, to be a global rock star, don't go home early because you miss things. You massive idiot.
That's useful advice.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our little audience of Richard Hammond. It was contractually obliged to be 30 minutes, but in fact we had 32, so
I want a big stand.
Massively, we're going to have to go and give him some more t-shirts. Oscar's got the last question. Oscar is the cleverest man in Britain. What's your question, Oscar?
What's one of the most powerful road cars you've ever driven, and what's one of the weakest?
Tiff?
Well, the McLaren F1 was the quickest because it's only 640 horsepower, but of course the Bugatti has got 1,500 horsepower. They've got too much horsepower now, as he'll tell you, driving an electric car off the edge of a cliff.
Oh yeah, there's a certain Rimac that I was testing it, that's all. Testing it upside down and on fire at the bottom of a mountain. And it was very good.
So we are, of course, grateful to both of you, both for being here and for making very nice car television over the years to keep us entertained occasionally. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank the oldest man in the world, Mr. Tim Goodall.
Don't start him.
We're going to have to keep him on stage now, water him down. And please say thank you to the man with whom you were the audience with, Richard Hammond, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the show.